Hi, it's Maureen Holloway coming to you live from Mike's basement. It's okay. I'm all right. Don't worry. I'm supposed to be here. People know that I'm here. I'm here for a conversation about what? I can't tell you, but stick around and find out.
What up, Mike?
I also told people you'd be here. For my safety. If I disappear, Maureen Holloway is the first suspect.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 1922 of Toronto Mic'd, an award-winning podcast proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online at greatlakesbeer.com for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Visit palmapasta.com for more. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Catch a game at Christie Pitts this summer. No ticket required. Fusion Corp's own Nick Iones. He's the host of Building Toronto's Skyline and Mike and Nick, two podcasts that you ought to listen to. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making her return to Toronto Mic'd, it's Maureen Holloway. Welcome back, Maureen.
Thank you. Did you say Toronto Mic'd?
Yeah, like the show is called Toronto Mic'd, so it's MIKE''D.
Oh, after all these
There's
years. Yeah, I know. I always thought
Maureen.
it was just Toronto Mike.
You know what? I am Toronto Mike, and the show is called Toronto Mic'd.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, it came to me in like a fever dream in like 2012, maybe 2011. Anyways, around the time Humble and Fred started recording like daily, and it stuck in my head anyway.
I did not know that till now, or did not notice.
My goodness gracious.
An apostrophe can make such a difference. Anyway.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, before we press record, I'm wearing a hoodie, a McGill hoodie, because it's actually that kind of day. Like, I thought we were in summer mode, but it got cool today.
Well, it's a very attractive hoodie. It's a red hoodie, so it's very patriotic and apropos. And you're right. It's a kind of snuggy day.
Did you go to McGill?
No, I went from Montreal, but I didn't go to McGill.
Okay.
I wish I had, but when people don't want to go to the university in the town that they're from.
But some people have to because they're poor.
Or, well, I mean, in Toronto's case, we have one of the best universities in the world right here.
Right.
Which, of course, is George Brown. No offense. U of T, obviously, but everybody wants and should maybe go away. And so I grew up in Montreal, and so McGill was not in the cards because I wanted to get out. So
where did you go?
Well, you see, I went to Carleton, which, Carletonites, unless you're studying criminology or Spanish or something, it's not a top-rated university. But what it did have when I went, I finished high school. I was 16. Quebec only goes to grade 11. Didn't want to go to Cégep. Carleton had at the time what they called a qualifying year. So if your marks were good enough, you could get in and get first-year credit. So basically hasten the whole university experience. And Carleton was the only place that did that. So I ended up going there. Did so badly in my first year. I was 16.
Yeah, well, I'm still processed because we had grade 13. I mean, we called it OAC, but I went to a grade 13.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. You had 2 years of Cégep. And I was 16. I'd gone to a convent girls boarding school, and then I was unleashed. It was the late 70s in Ottawa. No supervision. Lots of drugs, lots of boys, and I had an F average after a qualifying year, and I couldn't get into any other university.
So I mean, I know we probably covered this in the past. It's not your first visit here,
ago.
but
Not my first rodeo.
How do you go from bombing out of Cartoon U, as we called it, right, to getting a job at CKFM?
Oh, well, no. So,
okay.
no.
I skipped a decade.
You skipped a decade.
Right.
Least. No, I finished at Carleton. I actually finished a four-year degree with honors.
Okay.
I did extremely well when I figured out what I was supposed to. I did extremely well when I went to class.
Right.
And then I had a degree in film studies. I moved to Vancouver. I worked for I worked for a sort of artsy film distribution center. Worked for Xerox for a while because I thought it might be fun to make some money.
Right.
So I sold copiers. And then I bummed around Europe for a while. And then I thought, you know what? I'm 24. I got to figure out what it is I want to do. So I figured I wanted to get into advertising. Went to Ryerson, which is now, of course, I always call it Too Much University.
Right.
And got into the RTA program, Radio and Television Arts, and was hired my first year out of school to do cottage country traffic at CKFM. There you go.
You know what? Okay, yeah.
That's how it happened.
You know, how do I gloss over those Xerox years, right?
I was only there for 6 months, but I made enough money to bum around Europe for a year.
I remember when I worked in office environments, attractive young women would sell us photocopiers.
Yes.
And they would take you to lunch or something. And then all the goofballs would be so excited this pretty young thing was like having taken them out to lunch. They would go buy a bunch of copiers with like a company's money.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Okay. So that's very effective, but they didn't keep you. You decided
I made, I think, don't forget, this would be like 1980, and I think I made $35,000 in 6 months.
That's a lot today, I feel.
Yeah. And, well, it was a lot in 6 months. And I said, you know, I don't want, this is not what I want to do. So I think I'll just take the money and go off to Europe, which I did.
Right. So I'm wearing the McGill hoodie because my daughter just graduated from McGill.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. And she went off for a few weeks. She went to Europe a few weeks before getting back to like real world or whatever.
Yep.
But she's back now living in Montreal. And yesterday was Father's Day. And it's still a little sad that I had 75% of my children with me yesterday. But it's funny that you have great time with 3 of your children, but you're just thinking, oh, I'm missing one.
Well, first of all, Mike, you have too many children. You know,
well, I've closed the factory, Maureen. So that's it.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Father's Day is it's tough when you get older. I'm not a big fan of either Father's or Mother's Day. Birthdays, yes.
Right.
But the rest is sort of a forced manufactured event.
Right.
And I mean, if your kid doesn't show up for you one way or another on Father's Day, it doesn't mean they don't love you.
Right. That's right. If they don't show up on your birthday, that means they don't love you.
Yeah, if they don't get in touch with you on your birthday, that means you failed.
Well, I got a new dynamic. My birthday and Father's Day are very close together, so I feel like they're being merged.
Yeah. Same with my husband.
Regard.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm going to do this off the top, and then I'm going to tell you what happened today that made me think of Maureen Holloway. Okay, although you were in the calendar before
I was on
today.
Your calendar.
Okay, you were in the calendar, so that should have reminded me. But I want to make sure you, Maureen, your loved ones, everyone listening at home, all the FOTMs know that we have an event on Thursday. So I'm talking to you on June 22nd, on June 25th, which is a Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. Everybody is invited to Great Lakes Brewery at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard, where Palma Pasta is going to feed you. So come hungry and come hang with us 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday, June 25th, 2026. The 22nd Toronto Mike Listener Experience. So, Maureen, stick that in your calendar. I'm just watching you stick it in your calendar. Okay, and I am going to send you home with some fresh craft beer, Maureen, and I have a frozen lasagna in my freezer for you.
Can I ask you about this?
Of course, that's a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home.
What are they measuring? That's Ridley's Funeral Home. Why would you need a tape?
Your casket could come in a variety of sizes, Maureen. You gotta.
Oh, really?
Well, no. I think it's just a handy thing.
I know
whatever.
they're a fine funeral home. This is not to disparage your sponsor.
Right.
I know my optometrist has these because they want to measure how far you have to sit from your screen to see clearly.
Right.
But the whole concept of measuring a casket, gotta say, Mike, a little weird.
Well, that is a Brad Jones special, and he's got a great podcast called Life's Undertaking. He's the funeral director at Ridley Funeral Home.
Oh, he must have some stories.
He's been doing that a long time, and I was going to say, this is episode 1922, and he's not around since 1921, but that funeral home has been there at 14th and Lakeshore since 1921.
It's a lot of dead folk.
They've seen a lot of death, Maureen. Well, speaking of death, okay? So, speaking of death,
yes.
which comes for us all.
Sorry.
It's okay. It comes for us all. I was reading today that Clive Davis passed away.
Really?
Yeah. And then I was thinking, oh my God, like I'm thinking Whitney Houston and Clive David.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, oh, he had these legendary Grammy parties. And then I was like, how do I know this? And I'm like, it was people like Maureen Holloway who would give me entertainment news and tell me things like Clive Davis had a big Grammys party.
Yeah, he did. I don't do that anymore.
But do you have because you did it for so long, do you find yourself taking mental notes on entertainment news in case you need it?
It's interesting because it was sort of like a good question. Back when I did traffic, I didn't care about traffic, but that's what my job was, right?
Right.
And people would corner me at parties and say, "Oh, I got stuck on the 400 the other day," and start telling me about it like I gave a rat's ass.
You can swear on the show.
Or gave a shit. But with regards to entertainment, I found it interesting. But that was sort of like the thing that I got that would get me through the door, and it wasn't like. It's not like I cared. Like some people who do gossip and do it well, and there are quite a few people in this business, they do care. I'm thinking of Lainey, who's probably turned it into an art form. Right. And I think she really does. She really is viscerally interested in what's happening with famous people. For me, it was just grist for the mill. It was just an opportunity to tell jokes or tell stories. And one thing that I do like about gossip or media stories is that it's one of the few things that still brings us together, like talking around the town square or the water cooler.
Or like when Will Smith slaps
that was almost an international incident. That transcended
You're right.
entertainment.
That's too big.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, I think it's just fun because we can talk about people like we know them,
right?
But we don't. But do I personally... to answer your original question, I like watching award shows knowing I don't have to cover it on social media or talk about it. I can actually relax and enjoy it. But if there is something pithy that I need to say, or pissy, depending, I guess I can take to social media. Although my kids tell me I'm not allowed to post anything after 9:00. Not after smoking a joint, anyway.
Well, I was going to say you could always put it on your Substack.
Yeah, so my Substack, which I do with Wendy Mesley, it's named after our podcast, Women of Ill Repute, and thanks for bringing that up. That's going through a sort of transitional stage right now. I mean, we're still posting regularly, but it started when we started our podcast, which I guess would be about 3 years ago.
Right.
It was suggested to us that one of the best ways to promote the podcast would be to write about each episode. So every week we would take turns writing a profile on our guest, and then we stopped doing the podcast, but we still had an audience because we also would write about other stuff, whatever, sometimes personal. Wendy tends to be very political, very journalistic. I tend to be very personal. But our podcast wasn't growing, but our Substack audience is. So that's why we've kept that up, and it's still called Women of Ill Repute, and we still post every week, alternating. It's my turn tomorrow. And we talk about everything under the sun.
I keep track of it for because it's interesting, but also because you make regular appearances on Humble and Fred.
Yes.
And you do send in like show notes, and I make sure the guys get it and everything. But I mean, that's always a clue of what's kind of bouncing around your head. Is what are you writing about on your Substack?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm writing tomorrow. Okay, honest to God.
I want you to write your Substack about your Toronto Mike return. Okay, Maureen Holloway?
It has to have, I might do that, but I try to have a more universal appeal.
Well, you don't. You can say some award-winning podcaster in his basement studio. But okay, before we go any further, because I want a lot of ground I want to cover.
Okay.
But I'm going to shout out your first 3 appearances on this program.
Okay.
Let's walk through this. So, and also kind of ties in nicely with Father's Day being yesterday, because your first appearance was in February 2017. And it happened to be episode 217 of Toronto Mike. So that's way back when. And here's what I wrote at the time. Mike chats with CHFI morning show host Maureen Holloway about her years at 99.9. That's the aforementioned CKFM, which became Mix 99.9.
Now Virgin.
Now Virgin, right? But you were never there for the Virgin years.
No.
No Virgin.
Nope. That horse left the barn a long time ago.
I did ask you, I'm just reading what I wrote at the time, Maureen.
Okay.
I did ask you about working with John Derringer at Q107.
Yep.
And I do, and this is not what I wrote at the time, but I do remember in my head wondering how you would answer that, because Humble and Fred had given me a detailed briefing on, behind the scenes John Derringer stories. So I think I knew a lot more than was in the public domain at the time. And I remember you being very clever in how you answered that question, because I remember you saying John Derringer is an excellent broadcaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, and he was.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not lying. I remember a listener commenting on that broadcast, saying that there was a strange tone. Maureen had a strange tone when she answered that question. And I remember going, oh, you have no idea.
Right. But I mean, at that time, I was, whatever you said you were going to say, you're speaking for Maureen Holloway, and I was going to move on.
Yeah.
Which I did. Okay. But then we did talk about how you took over, and this is going to tie into the first topic I want to address with you when I finish getting through these three descriptions.
Right.
But you took over for radio legend Aaron Davis.
Yeah, that's right.
At CHFI 98.1. So we talked that first time. And the photo I took for that episode is you holding
Your
very
baby.
young
Yeah.
Morgan, who is my youngest. And I kind of love it. You're the only guest in the history of the podcast to
How's your baby?
You know what, I say that, but now I'm thinking there's been a lot of episodes. I think Sophia I can never say it, Jurskovic. Sophia the J, we'll call her. I think she might have held the kid as well, but definitely you holding Morgan is like my favorite of all the photos.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that photo. I'd like you to hold her today if you don't mind.
She's what, 11?
She's 10.
Okay. 10. Oh, well, 10 I can handle.
And and it made me sad today because it was rainy, so I was walking her to before school care, and it struck me that I've been paying for some form of daycare with a few stops here and there when there were maternity leaves, etc. But I've been paying for some form of childcare for like 20-something years, 23 years.
Like I said, you have too many children.
But it's over. This is it.
Yes.
So I actually cancel. So I will be paying through. Friday's a PD day. Did you know that?
No, I no longer keep track.
You don't
of those.
care.
No.
So there's no school. I find it interesting. The last day of school, which is Friday,
is a PD day.
Is a PD
yeah,
day.
I know. That is a lot, isn't it?
Okay. So this week is the last week I'm paying for before and after school care for the 10-year-old. And we're actually gonna bike to that tomorrow, and then she's actually not gonna use it for Wednesday and Thursday. She's just gonna walk to school like a big girl, like she'll do next year. So tomorrow is the last day. We'll have our little ritual we've been doing for years, where we bike to and from the it's the YMCA, but it's the before and after school care. And I felt a little even though I feel like my job as a parent, and you have 2 older sons, but my job as a parent is to make myself irrelevant, to make them, they're independent, they don't need me. But then when you get to a milestone in that journey, you get a little sad about it.
If you do your job right, they leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. It's rough, isn't it?
Anyway, the end of an era tomorrow for Morgan. Okay, so your second visit, so that was the first time in person, February 2017. In May 2019, you returned to kick out the jams, and that was a lot of fun. We played 10 of your favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, we did.
Good times. Okay, but then you returned via Zoom with the aforementioned...
With Wendy, yes.
Wendy Mesley.
I remember that. We were actually down east. I think we were in New Brunswick at the time.
And that was episode 1067. And I wrote, Mike chats with Wendy Mesley about her exit from CBC and Maureen Holloway about her exit from CHFI.
Well, that's how we started doing the podcast, because we were both, that's why we called it Women of Ill Repute, although Wendy left under far more inauspicious circumstances than I left. See, my contract was over. They didn't renew it, whereas Wendy was frog marched out from the CBC for less than reasonable reasons.
Right. So I must ask, maybe to get this out of the way, is why did you stop recording episodes of Women of Ill Repute?
Why did we stop the podcast?
Right.
Financial reasons. Also, neither of us needed to pad our resumes. And we did it for 3 years. We did 98 episodes, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what you've done. But
I'm ridiculous, Maureen.
But you are ridiculous, Mike. We didn't realize how much work it would be, and there was so much that we were not willing to do that other people who have maybe more financially viable podcasts do, which was produce, edit. We didn't want to chase guests. We ended up having a chase producer who was amazing. Okay. We also contracted out the production services. And
that's essentially editing.
yeah, editing, but also, hosting, making, like understanding the more
distributing
the more technical aspects of podcasting, which are not that complicated, but just didn't interest us. But we were very lucky. We had a young woman named Jordana Silver, and she was a big fan, and she worked for Indy at the time in sales, and she came to us and said, I would really like to represent you and sell your product. And she did, and she made us a little bit of money. She made it worthwhile. She was so good at it that Rogers came to her and offered her a full-time job in sales with Rogers, and she didn't want to take it. And I was, Jordy, are you nuts?
Right.
You're in your early 30s. You're given an opportunity to make a lot of money, even though radios isn't what it was. It's Rogers.
But as when we talked about Xerox, the one place that still has money is sales.
Yeah. And so, but they didn't want her to have any side gigs. So if she took the job, she had to drop, selling us. So once she left, that was our source of income. Neither Wendy nor I wanted to go out and start pitching and getting sponsors and all that.
No.
And it was just the sheer amount of work. But we're very proud of what we did. So we just said, and also Wendy moved. Even though she was physically never here, she was in Prince Edward County.
Right.
She then moved. She's now fully Quebec. She has a country home in the Eastern Townships and an apartment in Montreal. Her daughter, she and her husband, Liam, their daughter lives in Montreal. So she's gone. And the fact that she's gone, even though we weren't in the same room, kind of still has a psychological effect.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it's not even a time zone difference.
No. It was just, it was too much work, not enough money, and I think it had run its course.
And you guys aren't hungry enough, right?
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. And even in retrospect now, it was a great idea, a journalist and a comedian walk into a bar and so on, because Wendy wanted to be funny, but I didn't really want to be a journalist. So yeah, I just felt, I think it was mostly me that wanted to move on. It just ran its course. It was a lot of fun. Would I do it again? No, not like that. Maybe something else, but no. It was just, I'm really impressed by people who do podcasts and do them successfully, yourself included, but I just don't think you can make a reasonable living at it, Mike, in this country.
You'd have to do it because you loved doing it.
Yeah. I mean, in the States, it's a whole other, a ball of wax. But here, I can't think of a single successful Canadian podcast. But really successful. Peter Mansbridge has got one. I mean, but that's all, Peter Mansbridge.
Can I sell you a reverse mortgage?
Yeah.
Are you in the market?
Yeah. It's...
Well, Humble and Fred, in case they're listening.
I don't think of that as a podcast. I almost think of it as a radio show online.
Okay, that's because it's live to tape. You talked about outsourcing the editing, and I mean this particular show you're on now, which is kind of based on Humble and Fred because we started them off going in October 2011, and then I started in 2012. So that's kind of how the sequencing went. But there's zero editing to this show right now. You're on right now. So
yeah, but that wouldn't have worked for us.
Right.
So when I say no, I'm still. Hey, I mean, if the conversation is headed towards, are you done? Are you?
Well, are you done?
No. Am I done with radio? Almost definitely. Radio is done with itself. Am I done with podcasting? It's funny. I was at an event last week. It was actually Marilyn Dennis's.
Well, I'm going to get to her in a moment.
Okay, but I was talking to saw a lot of old faces. I mean, some of them were new faces, but what is the joke about some of them were more new than others? But it was really interesting. And of course, we talked about radio. And I sort of looked around and went, this is kind of the last. The people that are here are the last of the old guard. And sure, there are some, Josie and Nat and Josie were there who are taking over from Marilyn. But really, it's the last gasp of a dying empire, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see radio having a viable future, certainly not under its current model. Is the future podcasting? I don't think so either, because everybody can do it, and there's just too much stuff out there. Not enough of it is good.
The barrier to entry is too low?
It's too low, and there's too much product, and it's not
There's a lot of
enough.
product.
So, but do people still want to listen to other people and hear human voices?
Well, you know what your ace in the hole is that you're Maureen Holloway.
Well, I don't know what that means anymore. I mean, I don't consider myself, I've had a really good run and a good kick at the can, but I mean, I don't ever assume anybody knows who the hell I am.
Okay,
anymore.
but can I do a little like peel back? Well, that's what we do in the show. We peel back the curtain. But I produced the Humble and Fred show.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
Yes.
And they like recurring voices that they're comfortable with. Like this is a bit, so sometimes I would be ballsy and put on a new voice that I thought was maybe they were good on my show. And I said, I think that one of the guys, and it doesn't work out. It really is a disaster. So I've learned find the people they're comfortable with and keep going back like to that well, basically. So for example, tomorrow, Larry Fedoruk is on the show.
Yeah, they have Larry on all the time. And Ralph Ben Murky, I know.
So those are two shows I produce as well, right? So Larry Fedoruk will be on the show, and he's got Later That Same Life. And you worked with Larry at CKFM?
Yes, with Humble.
With Humble?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so let's get to that in a moment, because I want to talk about this old guard, whether they have new faces or not. But one of the voices that we were lucky to get on was you, Maureen Holloway. And then I told the guy, first of all, you're a woman.
I am.
Of ill repute or not. And you're, honestly, I think you're, and no disrespect to Larry, who's amazing. It was just over, and he's fantastic. I think the world of Larry, too. But you, Maureen Holloway, in my opinion, are the best podcast guest because you're very quick on your feet. You can roll with whatever, and you never know what's going to, fly with those guys, or with me for that matter. But you're also very funny. You have an infectious laugh, and you're pretty brutally honest. Like, I think you're God's gift to podcasts.
Oh, well, bless.
And to peel back the curtain further, so I once asked you out for coffee. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
So you and I don't know what you thought. Did you think I had a white van and I was going to duct tape you?
No, I had no idea.
Okay,
I go, you know what? A few people have asked me for coffee and I've had no idea why. And it never fails to surprise me.
So I guess you were curious enough and it was in your hood or whatever and we had a coffee. And really it was just because I wanted your voice on that show every single month. Like I wanted to know, okay, I don't even remember what we have it at, but the third Tuesday of every month.
Second Tuesday.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
I stuck it in the Google Calendar and it just recurs.
Yes.
And it's like, unless you're out of town or whatever.
Yeah, I was really happy that you asked. I really enjoy doing it. It's been a couple of years now.
It's been, and they've cut back on their show. So really, there's only one. I don't know how to phrase this. There's only one guest who doesn't pay to come on, who comes on every week.
Everybody else pays.
Well, okay, no, if Larry doesn't pay, but
didn't know
there's
that.
only one guest. I only book one guest a week on Humble and Fred that doesn't pay to come on. So it's always Tuesday at 8:15. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
So you'll hear voices. Like there'd be more than just Larry's on the show tomorrow, but that other guest paid to come on.
Yes.
So you're with me now. Okay.
Yes. They're really paid sponsors.
Right.
They come on to talk about their product. Yeah.
You got it. But you, of course, do not pay to come on.
I don't have a product.
We're not making any of that women of ill repute money from the Substack there. 10% kicks back to us or whatever. But you're great. Larry's great. You mentioned Ralph. But, we try different voices and some stick and some don't. But, so most people, Tony Clement is a guest that Fred's in love with. So I know I got to make sure Tony Clement is in the calendar. I think I booked Ralph to just like counterbalance, like because Tony's working with Pierre Polyev and he's a conservative. Yeah. And I felt like, okay, I need something to like counterbalance the Tony. So and that's when I brought in the Ralph.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense. Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm in good
But
company.
you're great on that show. And we had coffee and I just kind of pitched this idea and you said yes. And you are the only monthly, people think other guests are monthly, but actually you are the only actual monthly guest.
Well, imagine that. Now I not only do I not pay to be on that show, but I am not paid. And, and Howard a couple of times said, I wish we could pay you. And I was like, well, what are you going to pay me? What are you going to pay me $50? I mean, the money is so incidental. I do it simply because I love to do it. And it's one way of keeping my hand in for God knows what.
Well, it does be scratching the itch.
Like, yeah, it does. It does.
You get in front of a mic and you get to yak with somebody.
Well, they're so funny, but they're also so insightful, both of them. Fred especially, Howard just breaks barriers wherever he goes, but Fred is maybe a little more thoughtful about some things. But it's great. It's great conversation. It scratches an itch exactly, and I love doing it.
Okay, so you were at this party. Was it just like the farewell party? Because Marilyn's last day on Chum FM
this Friday,
104.5 is going to be this Friday.
Yeah.
So this was like friends and colleagues of Marilyn?
It wasn't. I thought it was because she told me a while ago. She said, "Okay, June 19th, write it down. That's my farewell." And I was, of course. And I kind of thought that it was going to be an intimate affair with maybe, maybe 50, 60 people from the industry, that it would be like a dinner and that there would be toasts and there'd be a, video retrospective but I mean, she's had all that, right? She'd had that when she got the Order of Canada, Order of Ontario and the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. And she's been, absolutely.
She's been lauded.
She's been lauded.
Enough. Okay.
Yeah, well, no.
And more on
That's
Friday.
Enough, Mayor. Like, drop it. But I thought it was going to be something smaller. And then I found out, it turned out it was like 250 people.
Oh.
And it was really a listener event. Like half the people there were listeners, and they gave away prizes. And I think Marilyn would have given a speech, but she lost her voice.
Oh,
I don't know I haven't heard her this morning, but she could not talk on Friday. So what it ended up being was an industry schmooze,
Right.
which I hadn't been to in a long time. And it was loads of fun. It was less about Marilyn than I think I expected it to be, and more about running into just about everybody I've ever worked with. But it was all mostly a Bell crowd. But you know what this industry is like. There were a lot of people there that I'd worked with at Rogers and at Chorus. But yeah, it was pretty cool seeing a lot of people. Is this
a Bell sanctioned event, or was
it
this
was
like
a Bell? I think it was. I think it
the
was
listeners, right?
It was a Chum FM event,
Right.
more so than a Marilyn Dennis event.
Okay, because the big question I have for you, your first hard-hitting question of the day is, was there an appearance by Roger Ashby?
Yes, he was on the stage.
Okay, because
He
I
came
suspect
out, yeah.
he'll be on the show Friday is my guess.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm guessing, right? Because when, I'm guessing that Roger will make an appearance on Fridays.
On her show.
On Marilyn's final show on Friday.
I have no idea what the plan is. I know this whole month has been sort of an emotional retrospective for her.
Right. And then the bigger, because I think Roger's a slam dunk. In my humble opinion, what do I know? Never worked in radio.
But you know what, Mike? I think that it's very important that this be about Marilyn. It's not about Roger.
He's not gonna hog the spotlight. He'll come on to say maybe just give some perspective on, it's not so bad on the other side, or something like that, like some crack about retirement's not so bad, Marilyn. I'm digging it or whatever, and just for that voice to be a part of this final Marilyn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right.
Have I sold you on it?
No, I think it's probably an educated guess. He'll be there on Friday.
But the question I want, because I haven't actually heard from him in a long time, since he retired from Easy Rock in Niagara Falls, but will Rick Hodge be a part of any of this?
I think Rick has health issues. Yeah.
That's too bad.
They're they're old guys,
Yeah,
they
that's
are.
true.
They're like in their late 70s, or I don't know.
Good point. Ashby's got to be in his 80s.
I think so.
He's got to be. He was on the air for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And he's been gone for a long time.
Yeah, he's been gone for a long time. So do the math.
Okay, so I was thinking, with Marilyn on her last week on the radio, I was thinking, Marilyn, like, I think she started, and you might know better than I do, but I think she started on that morning show in like 86, maybe. Yeah. Like, that's 40 years.
Yeah.
So 40 years she's been a voice on Toronto morning radio, and there's no one now who comes close to that.
Nope.
Like, do you ever, I don't know who else was hanging around that party you were at, but I was wondering if we could do a little nostalgic romp here and maybe remember some guys, as they say in the podcast world, and some of those stalwart voices from Toronto morning radio that are no longer on Toronto morning radio.
Okay.
Yeah, let's throw out a name. Throw out a name that might have been on the air. And I took some notes because I know you were at CKFM when it switches to Mix 99.9. But before Humble Howard leaves Humble and Fred to be on the morning show on the new Mix 99.9, I believe Tom Rivers was the morning show.
Oh,
host.
yeah. Very briefly. Tom was there, I don't think he was there. I think it was on maternity leave. Is that possible?
Okay. Well, it was like 92, maybe?
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Aiden was born in 93, so I was on maternity leave. He was there for a very, very short period.
Because he comes from 680 CFTR, All Hits Radio, and he was there on CKFM doing mornings with Larry Fedoruk.
Yeah.
Isn't it such a small world?
Yes, well, actually, in broadcasting in Canada, it is a very small world. That's why everybody knows each other.
I mean, yeah, because the guy who replaces Tom Rivers is Humble Howard.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And he, for like 18 months or something, he leaves. People forget this, but because they think, Humble and Fred, 1989 until whenever they left for Mojo Radio in 2000. I think it was 2001, whenever Dean Blundell takes over on 102.1. But they think, that's an uninterrupted run. But no, because Howard he goes to 99.9 for 18
with
months.
Larry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm trying to jog your memory here. But so you have Roger, Rick, and Marilyn on Chum FM.
Yes.
Do you remember the morning show on CHFI?
It was Don and Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawn and Aaron. I think at that time, 92, you've got Kiss 92.5, which was country music. Do you remember the morning show there?
No.
Maybe it was a guy named Cliff Dumas. Does that name Dumas?
Yeah,
I can never say that last
yeah.
name, but I didn't listen to country music. My mom was a big Mugs and Kisses woman. She liked her Garth Brooks over there. Cliff Dumas, I think, maybe, and maybe Jane Brown.
Yeah, could be.
I know, you're jogging the memory here. And Jane's currently she is on the radio still. She's on Zoomer.
Really?
With Andy Wilson, who used to produce the Humble and Fred show.
Huh.
Oh, no. He produced the Humble show on Easy Rock and Boom when it first launched. That's Andy Wilson. But he does a morning show with Jane Brown on Zoomer.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And Q107, do you remember who might have been the morning show host in the early 90s?
Pete and Geets?
No, they're
later
long
than
gone.
that. Was it Scruff?
Scruff Connors
Yeah.
and the Q Morning Zoo.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Wasn't Bro Jake there at some point?
They took turns, but Bro, where they would come and go. Like it would be Bro, and then it would be Scruff, and I think in 92 or whatever, it's Scruff Connors. But Jesse and Jean took over for Tom Rivers on 680 CFTR.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
And then we're doing some radio history here, but 680 then flips to All News, and then they let go Jesse and Jean, who go down to 640.
Okay.
Does this ring a bell?
It does. Something I need to point out. First of all, we didn't all hang together, right? So, especially if you were doing mornings, you didn't really hang out with the rest of the morning crew. In fact, so a lot of them I never met or met them only instantly. And also, those were my childbearing years.
That's true.
So I was off for a year with Aiden, and then Ronan was born in 98, and I actually only took 3 months off. But no, I wasn't... Also, I need to point out as you move forward in your radio history that once they started doing a feature across the country at one point, I think it was 13 markets. Don't ask me who was doing what where. If I could remember the people I was talking to every morning, that was a good deal. I sure couldn't tell you who was working elsewhere.
Okay, so here, what I'll do is, for fun, I'll just talk about CKFM/Mix 99.9 in 1992.
Okay.
So we mentioned this is when Humble Howard leaves Humble and Fred, and him and Larry Fedoruk do the morning show.
Yes.
So we talked about this being a small world, okay? Who do you think is, and if you don't know, that's fine, but who do you think is on the radio from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. after Humble Howard Glassman and Larry Fedoruk?
Middays. Is it Lee Marshall?
Bill Hayes.
Oh, Bill. Oh, Bill.
And Bill Hayes is the brother of John Derringer.
Yeah.
Which is, and Bill
I've
Hayes.
seen Bill in ages. What a nice man.
Yeah, actually, he came over, big time Lee fan, and one of the nicest human beings you'd ever want to meet.
Yep.
After Bill Hayes, it was a chap, I'm sorry if I don't even know some of these people, but Dan Williamson.
Yeah, I did afternoons with Dan for a long time.
Okay, so that name, I'm not familiar with Dan Williamson, but what can you share with us?
He was legendary. He was the voice of, Lee Marshall was CTV, and Dan was Global, I think. So you heard they were the image voices. So you heard their voices all the time. And Dan and I did afternoons, I think, on and off together for a long time. And he was a good guy. He was, bless him, Dan was the one who said to me, I was just doing traffic, and he said, why don't you do a feature? You're funny. And I mean, I sort of thought I was. And he said, why don't you do a feature on famous people to bring us back to the beginning of the conversation? And,
right.
And we decided to call it Other People's Business. And so it was really Dan who gave me that opportunity. And then, of course, that took off like a bat out of hell and ended up being sponsored, I guess. And anyway, the rest was, my history anyway.
Well, remind me again. I know I can go back in the archives and hear previous Maureen Holloway visits to the Toronto Mike studio. But how did the stadium?
Not quite there yet.
You know what? We'll see how many people come out for TMLX 22 on Thursday. If I have to move it to the Dome, we'll see if I have to negotiate with Rogers for that one. But so you're doing that on 99.9. But how does that end up with you in different markets? Like, is that?
No, that wasn't.
That's Chorus, right?
It was Chorus.
Okay, so how do you go from 99.9 to Q107 and the Chorus station?
I was actually, again, and you need to think about this. This would have been 1999, I think. And I was also on the air in Montreal. So I had started live. So I had started doing that just a little bit, right? And then they came and got me. Literally, it was a guy, Joe Zenobio was the GM at Q. And David Hussar was doing their syndication thing. I can't really remember. But they did, I got a call asking if I would meet them at a coffee time in Vaughan.
Whoa.
It's just so funny because you know what? Who cares? But at the time, if you're under contract, I guess you're not supposed to be talking to the enemy. And so you'd have these meetings.
Yeah.
You go for coffee and it's like, what are we pulling a heist or
Well,
something?
I can
What are
vision
we
you
doing here in
at
a
different
parking
booths,
lot?
but your backs are to each other.
Yeah, I
And you're
know.
sort of whispering to each other.
I thought it was really hilarious, but they came and asked me and they said, we'd like you to come over to, it was Wick at the time, and
Right.
Wick went on to become Chorus, and we'd like to syndicate you in some form. We'd like to take your little showbiz feature that you're doing and put you on our stations across the country. And I was like, hell yeah. I've been waiting for that to happen.
Right.
At this point, I also had a television show. I was doing a show on the Comedy Network called The Dish Show. So I had some national exposure, and it was great. And I resigned. Gary Slate was extremely angry with me, told me I was ungrateful. But I was like, well, you never offered to do any of this
Right,
stuff for me,
right.
so I'm going.
Right.
So that's how that happened.
And you're in an esteemed list of great broadcasters who he was pissed at some
yes,
point or
it's
another.
it's definitely a Hall of Fame. I think he's forgiven me.
Do you now that I feel like the statute of limitations has expired, where you could actually tell us what kind of do you remember what that opening salary was when they
Yeah,
said let's?
it was. I wasn't making that much to begin with. I think it was 30,000.
So that's not quite Xerox money.
Oh God, no! And I mean, it wasn't even the money I was making. What had happened? I think when I was on with Rob Christie, that's right. I stopped going in full time. I was just doing that feature, Other People's Business, in Montreal and Toronto. And I had Ronan. I'd had my second at that point. So I didn't want to work full time, didn't have the time to work full time, just kept my hand in doing that. So they said, you could work from home. That was the other thing. They said, we'll set you up with an ISDN line. This is Wick when they came to me, and we'll drop you in on all our stations, adding them one by one because we don't, want to overwhelm the situation. And I think, 30,000 was it. But then as each station came on, I think I got bonused.
And also, let's not bury the lead here. Back then, working from home in radio, what a novelty.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot of cash.
That was
right
worth
there.
a lot. I think that was the clincher was that I have a newborn.
Right.
And I don't have to go into work.
Yeah. So again, ISDN line. So this is way before everybody's doing this now, obviously. Yeah. But
we don't even need it now because you can do stuff on Zoom, right?
Right. But when you had that ISDN line, it sounded like you were in the studio, as I recall, an FM band.
They put the broadcast line into my house. It was a dedicated broadcast line, so it was far superior to what we have. With no glitches. It was. If you're going to get me to start talking about digital or analog, I don't know.
It's okay. Bottom line is, we're talking, what are we talking? Early 2000s? What are we talking here?
It was like 1999, 2000.
Yeah, so for its time, the audio quality was
fantastic.
Was fantastic. Like you're in the studio, except you're working from home, Maureen.
Yeah.
Trendsetter.
The little setup, kind of like yours, except mine was on the top floor.
Okay, I was on the top floor until baby number 3 was born, and I got booted. It became the baby's room, and then I've been down here ever since.
You and a lot of people now. Now this is absolutely common. People broadcasting or podcasting, but I was definitely one of the first.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this is kind of. I'm going to play it. This is so we know the story. I don't want to. I feel it'd be cruel and unusual punishment to let's walk through.
God, yes.
John Darren said, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I might ask you a couple of questions about the Jennifer Holiday.
Valentine.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Jennifer Holiday is a singer. I just did Toast with Bob Willett and Rob Bruce. And You're gonna love me.
Yeah,
I won't do
yeah.
it, but she hits those notes, and I was just thinking about her because we were playing
No,
some
you're
Martha
not. You're
Wash.
thinking of Jennifer Hudson, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking of Jennifer Holiday.
Okay.
Like, this is like, you're gonna love me. This is a big voiced singer from like the late 70s, early 80s. Okay. Jennifer Valentine. So we'll talk about that Human Rights Tribunal. But I want to ask you something. I think I've been waiting for like enough time to go by that we'll get an honest Maureen Holloway answer here. Okay. So I'm going to play a little promo from you on CHFI. Okay. Then I'm going to ask you a question and see how you answer it. You ready?
Yeah.
You know, traffic in the city will not be a problem if we can just invent time travel.
Oh, definitely. Or we could live here at work. We could move in together. We could be roommates.
Where are you going with this? No, time travel. It's a better idea.
You're hurting my feelings.
Oh, it's for the best. You'll thank me. Time travel.
Just enough Bieber to get this blocked on YouTube. Okay, perfect. Okay, but this is a promo because we mentioned you took over for Erin Davis. So she moved out west and you were brought in, I guess, to be the new morning show host on CHFI with Darren B. Lamb. Mm-hmm. And there's a promo for it, a lot of noise. Darren B. Lamb was also the guy who replaced Rick Hodge.
Yes.
With the aforementioned Marilyn. See how small the world it is?
Quite a track record. He's worked with Marilyn, Aaron, and me.
Right. The three of the great morning radio hosts we have in the history of this city and radio. But I kind of need to know what you can tell me. But one of the most frequent questions I get as a radio insider
Whatever happened
what
to
the fuck happened to Darren B. Lamb?
Oh, I wish I knew. I do know. He left. He left in a disgraceful manner. Highly unprofessional and whiny and cowardly, and kind of that defines him. It was during COVID, and we were working from home, both of us, but everybody else in the morning show was in the studio. Ian MacArthur, Gord Rennie, Christine Cardoso were all in there. And they'd put up all sorts of barriers, as we did. We had all sorts of plastic and all that. And this is kind of gets a little nepotistic here. So Rogers put in all these protocols to deal with COVID. And actually my husband, who was working for Rogers at the time in the real estate and human resources, he was also part of implementing all the safety constraints. And I said to him, John, I want to go back. If you think it's safe. And he's like, babe, it's my job to make it safe. Yeah. But I said, if you think it's safe, I want to go back in the studio because I think we're really missing something. There's a bit of a delay, and I want to be back with the team. But Darren didn't want to go, and so we were all like, okay. He wasn't the easiest person to work with to begin with.
Right.
And anyway, I was in the midst of making plans to go back after Christmas, and he was going off to BC with his husband to look. They were building a house out there, and he never came back. He never came back from vacation, and the company refused to tell us what was going on, but they kept saying he's coming back. He had written us an email saying he wishes us well. And I was saying to management, he's gonzo. What are you talking about? He's gone. Right. And they were like, no, he's coming back. We're just working some things out. And then we had a new program director. Wendy Deff had left, and there's just a whole lot of stuff going on. We had a new guy who came in who had no idea what he was doing, no idea how to deal with people who had a lot. I mean, he came from a smaller market. He had no idea how to deal with talent. You can tell right now I'm already getting exasperated thinking about it. So they said to me, well, he said, between us, I don't think Darren's coming back. Who would you like to work with? And it's funny because I actually suggested Gurdeep Aluwalia.
Right.
Gurdeep and I were playing golf at that time, but then a couple of weeks go by and they stopped talking to me. And I'm like, well, what are we doing about the show? And they brought Mike Cooper in as an interim host. And Mike and I got on like a house on fire because he's a consummate professional. He's like, okay, his opinions are a little dated, but the five of us, Mike and Gord and Ian, who had all worked together before, and Christine, Mike and Christine had worked together, we were like an island of misfit toys, but man, did we get on. And without any guidance, we did some really great radio. And we were all together in the studio in the middle of COVID with no support. In fact, they insisted when we were doing when we were identifying the station, I'd have to say, oh, it's Darren and Mo with Maureen Holloway and Mike Cooper. Like that was insulting to the listener. And the listeners were all like, where's Darren? Where's Darren?
Right.
And we weren't allowed to say a word. And this went on. My contract was coming up. And I thought, well, what's the writing on the wall here? And I'm not stupid.
Right.
I was told that it's not that they weren't going to renew my option. They just hadn't picked it up. And Julie Adam, who was running everything at the time, said, of course we're renewing. And then they're not. I got screwed. But you know what? It was money. It was money. They were paying me a lot of money and my contract was up, and they decided, why throw, I'm not a spring chicken, although I don't know what difference that would make. Joy Behar is 82. And they did not renew my contract, and I left. And what happened to Darren? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares?
I can't think of another example of this where somebody just is on a big
takes off?
Because CHFI, I talk to Bob Willett every month. He comes in. He's on Indie 88, and they started adding songs like Ed Sheeran and stuff. They brought it in the playlist.
Indie sounds very different now.
Right, because they want a piece of the CHFI and Chum, those two stations, and Boom, those three stations, I suppose, with Stu Jeffries, who we'll get to later. But they want a piece of that pie. Because that's where all the ears are.
Yeah.
Like CHFI morning show is a juggernaut from, you talked about Don Daynard and
you know
Aaron
what?
Davis.
Nothing against Pooja and Gurdeep, but it is not the juggernaut it was. It's not, they don't even tell them, but I think they're 6th or 7th in the ratings. Even though the station is number 1.
So they so the station's doing better than the morning show.
They underperform, which is nothing. Listen, they're talented people. They're television people.
Right,
They've
CP24 breakfast.
Yeah, they've made the adjustment to radio, but it was nothing like Aaron and Mike were amazing.
Right.
And even Darren and I, when I came over, we were at number 1.
Right.
But I don't think they've had that same success, but I don't want to sound like sour grapes. So
no, I don't know Pooja very well at all, but
I don't know
Gurdeep
Pooja
and I, we just recently, as a week ago, we had a pretty lengthy chat.
Oh, he's a sweetie. Yeah,
they're both into each other all the time.
They're both
likable
talented people. Working for CHFI wasn't that easy either, because for me it was like, be less of a personality. You know what I mean? Be pleasant. Don't
tone
be
it down.
Yeah, tone it down.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Okay, tone it down, Maureen. Okay, we have too much Maureen Holloway. Wow. Okay, now I believe, am I right? Blair Bartram is the gentleman who was working with Pooja and Gurdeep on that morning show.
After I left, yeah.
After you left, right, with Pooja and Gurdeep here. And he's the same guy who was at Q for those...
He was a program director there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, sure is.
Let that sit there for
Is
a
there
minute.
a question?
No. Sometimes I've learned silence can be beautiful, Maureen. I used to think it's a mistake if I have silence. Sometimes I let the silence just sit there.
Yeah, when people try to fill it.
And then you never know what comes out when they're filling in that silence. That's the secret. So Darren B. Lim, I kind of had a sense of all this because Cooper came over and said something similar. But it is, I can't think of a parallel, like another example in
I can't either.
Toronto radio.
It's disgraceful.
Yeah, that's where I was going. So CHFI Morning Show was a juggernaut, whether it is now today or not. We can look at the ratings and decide for yourself. But it was a juggernaut, and to just walk away is bizarre.
Yeah.
And he hasn't
really
been heard from in public life since, right?
No, he hasn't. He was really resentful of me. And, it's not like I'm unaccustomed to that in almost 40 years in radio myself and working with various, male egos. But Darren really wanted to be the star of the show. Once Aaron left, he didn't get along with Roger and Marilyn. It's not like he didn't get along. He was difficult, and then Aaron, quite frankly, couldn't stand him. And so when I came, I think he really thought this was an opportunity for him to shine, and I would help make him shine. And that's actually what I do. I help make people shine. Right. But in his case, he was very jealous and resentful of the attention that I was getting. And yeah, he didn't like me at all.
And I do remember now Aaron Davis telling me something similar. And I often wonder, in a parallel universe, you can't answer this question, so don't even try. But like, if it's still Mike Cooper and Aaron Davis, does Aaron move out west? And
she would have stayed if it was Mike.
Right.
She left largely. I mean, she won't tell you this, but I will.
I think she did tell me this.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it had after her daughter died and everything started falling apart. She could not sit across and look at Darren, whom she quite frankly despised, and thought, you know what, I got to get out of here, But nobody told me. Marilyn didn't tell me. Aaron didn't. Nobody told me what it was going to be like because I guess they thought, hey, Mo, you'll figure it out. Or not. Maybe you'll be the magic.
But you can relate to this, right? Because other women would work with John Derringer after your experience, and you didn't pull them aside and say, "Here's what's going to happen."
No, and that's a very adroit segue right there.
You used that word on Humble and Fred, and I had to Google it.
Words, yeah. It's very clever. Well done.
It makes you seem very smart. Are you sure you didn't go to McGill?
I went to university.
They don't teach you those words at Carleton University.
No, but they do it. They do it. U of T, and they do it. I have a couple of degrees, but I read a lot. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You got multiple degrees. Okay. Binders and binders of degrees. Okay, so we got the Darren B. Lamb story there. And I know you don't want to spend all day with me. You want to get to those World Cup matches. I'm sure. I heard it last I checked, by the way. Messi had scored, and it was 1-0 for Argentina. I know. But I'm upset because I want Jonathan David to get whatever the award is for most goals in the World Cup. I don't know what they call it. But they were tied with 3, and now Messi's got a 4.
Well, you can't have everybody.
Okay, I'll be happy if we finally won a match. I think that we'll start with that, and we'll go from there. Okay, so are you surprised, Maureen Holloway, that John Garbutt and Ryan Parker are still part of the Q107 morning show?
That's a...
I'm an award-winning podcaster, Maureen. You get good questions down here. You seem so surprised.
You could be a prosecutor. No, it's not. It's like we're just going to go right there, right?
Well, yeah, I'll go
Well, they
less on
still
the
have to
Derringer.
testify at the Human Rights Tribunal. Not that should affect their job, but it may. So just a little background.
Yeah,
so
please.
Jennifer Valentine's case against Chorus is not against John Derringer. It's against the fact, and I'm going to say the fact, that Chorus knew about Derringer's behavior towards mostly women in that studio and kept it hidden and protected him for years and years and years. And so she launched this suit, which began last October. And I've given testimony, obviously, to support Jennifer. I think it might be important to say that I'm on that side. But what was it, April, the defense called their first witness, Chorus's defense, and their first witness was John Derringer, which was astonishing. It was 2 days of testimony.
Right.
Once you've given testimony in a tribunal, you are privy to it. You can show up, you can watch online. But if you are a witness forthcoming, like Ryan and John are, you're not supposed to. I think people do cheat, but you're not supposed to. Also,
because CBC literally publishes articles about what happened with quotes and stuff. Are they not supposed to read those articles?
Chorus asked for a publication ban, which is one of the reasons why there was a continuance. This is why it's taking so long.
Okay.
And without getting into all the legal, Chorus is basically...
That's for Lauren Honickman. I've got him online too.
Yeah, you can ask him about that. But basically, Chorus has been responsible for stringing this out. And, this is on Jennifer's dime, too. Give you an idea. Jennifer's paying for her legal fees. However, I believe now that because they have such a strong case, the lawyers are working for her pro bono with the idea that they will recoup some of their fees if and when damages are paid to Jennifer.
Contingency, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what's happening now. I was in the courtroom with Derringer. Not the first day. I watched that one online. The second one, I went in for the cross examination because I brought popcorn and champagne. And as far as I know, Garbutt and Ryan and all these people have not and should not be privy to any of that testimony because they are going on the witness stand in August. If they had been there, and I got to be careful here because I don't want to. I don't want to screw up anybody's case here. But I think you and I know, and anybody who's followed the case, that Derringer went in unapologetic, threw absolutely everyone under the bus, including his former henchmen, Ryan and John, and his former program director, Blair. Absolutely took huge bites out of Jennifer in terms of her competence and her ability. I got off relatively easy. I mean, he said I was chronically late and moody. Maybe the moody part is true, but never chronically late I was in. But he also said, he had more chemistry with me than he did with anybody else, and that I had huge talent. And, So it was just weird. It's like watching your ex-husband up there.
Right.
So giving you all this, we're going back to the question: do Garbett and Ryan
they're literally promoted? They're 2/3 of the morning show on Q107 today.
And actually, I don't listen. I don't listen to any radio, but when I do, it seems that Ryan is very much in the driver's seat on that show, which doesn't surprise me because he's learned from John. Did they deserve to keep their jobs, and do they deserve to keep them going forward?
Like, are you surprised that they still comprise the morning show on Q107?
Well, I don't think there had to be just cause to let them go, right? And they were victimized too. So I think Chorus was in a very uncomfortable decision. Had to make an uncomfortable decision. What do we do? Do we let them go? Well, for what cause?
I don't think you need cause anymore. Like, as long as
you do.
Well, no, I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
Go.
I think you can just
They're
let them go.
salaried.
Right, but
they could package them out. Yeah,
yeah. You just have to sever fairly. Like, I was talking to, I won't name the company, but a company close to the show about when they let people go, and even if they catch somebody stealing, they still don't do it with cause. They just sever them fairly because it's not worth the legal hassle and stuff. Like, so anybody can be fired anytime for no reason as long as you sever fairly.
Okay, so what's the question?
So the question to wrap up that question is that they are on the air today, and I'm wondering if you're surprised at all that Chorus, they went away for a bit with pay, but now they're back as part of the morning show with Shauna Whalen. Mm-hmm. Like, are you surprised, Maureen Holloway? No, nothing surprises you anymore.
No. I don't. Yeah, you're not asking me if I think they deserve to have their jobs.
I mean, you can answer that if you like, but my specific curiosity was whether you're surprised, because I got a lot of notes from people who are like, I'm surprised not only that they weren't fired, but that they're still part of the morning show.
You know what it comes down to, Mike? Yeah. It's talent. And are they really good? I mean, it's like a joke could be offensive, but if it's funny, all bets are off.
Right.
And in this case, it's like, if that's a fantastic morning show, and I don't listen, and the ratings are not as bad as some stations, but they're also not as good as others.
Right.
Then, you know what? I guess that trumps it. Oh, I hate using that word.
I know. You know what? I love euchre. It's one of my favorite games. I've been playing it since I can remember. And I hate the fact that the word Trump has this connotation.
Yeah, I know.
That's such a key part of the game.
It'll never go away either. But if I think if it's a really good morning show and people enjoy it, then that was the right decision to keep them. But I'm not, whether I think it is or not, I'm going to withhold my opinion on that because I don't think it's informed.
That's fair. Now, I don't want to upset you, and I don't want to trigger you. No, I don't want to I know that I've heard you on Humble and Fair. I don't want to, talk about all the abuse you might have suffered with John Derringer. But just because you said you were in the courtroom when John Derringer testified on behalf of Chorus in this human rights tribunal, I'm wondering, how traumatizing is that to be in the room and hear him kind of play it off like, no, I was great at what I did and at all costs. And
I would do
really
it all
he
again
leaned in.
the same way. Or I'm quoting him. I would do it again the same way. Nobody was good enough. I was totally right in behaving the way I did.
Were you surprised he didn't do what I kind of thought he might do, which is come in and say he's sorry and
I kind of hoped he would. I'm not the only one. I think we were all hoping for a little contrition.
Like, how surprised were you by that when he just leaned in? He leaned in like a villain in a superhero.
We were all surprised, except I can't speak for her, but the prosecutor, she's not even that. That's Jennifer's lawyer. Right. She wasn't surprised. She basically suspected he was going to dig his own hole, which he did. He probably got in the car with his wife who was there and drove home saying, I sure told them.
Right.
I told them I set them straight. But in fact, what he did was reveal himself to be the monster that he is to everybody. And I don't even think he knows that.
So, geez, it sounds like August is when more witnesses. How long does this last?
It goes till October.
Oh, God.
They'll have a week. And it's all because of scheduling, right? So they have a week in October. And not only will Ryan and Garbett take the stand, but the former CEOs. I mean, this is management comes. Management comes.
Do you know if Blair Bartram's on that list?
He already went. He was
he went already.
That was really interesting because he was actually a witness for our side.
Wow.
And I found that kind of curious. And I did ask Lisa. I said, you would think that being middle management, he would have been a witness for Chorus. And I think they basically approached him to preempt that from happening. But I think, having seen Blair's testimony too, I think, without throwing him under a bus, I think he made it clear that he knew what was going on but didn't do anything about it.
I think there's a lot of people in that category.
Yep, to save your own job or your own ass, and that's totally understandable. But I think his testimony showed that he perhaps did not impress upon senior management just how bad things were.
All right, so August, there's a return to the courtroom. We'll see what transpires here. And Human Rights Tribunal from Jennifer Valentine.
Yeah, good times. She's going to win. The question is how much, and will Chorus still be financially viable? Because that'll be pretty low on the list of creditors that they're going to have to deal with if they can't get their financial act together.
All right, so here's my award-winning segue as we leave the Human Rights Tribunal here from Jennifer Valentine, and I ask you a question about your health, Maureen Holloway, but I read in the CBC article about one of these, when John Derringer was on the stand there in the courtroom, it said, radio host John Derringer admitted to telling a joke on air that on Q107 that breast reduction surgery is the, quote, cruelest surgery a woman could do, end quote, because of what it denies a man. He acknowledged telling the joke while his former co-host, Maureen Holloway, was recovering from a mastectomy due to breast cancer. So I'm just telling you, I read this and my jaw hit the fucking floor. I'm so sorry.
Terrible.
I'm so sorry. And he didn't regret that either.
It's just, no, he didn't. It's all, like Lisa said, and Maureen had breast cancer at the time. Yeah. He goes, yep. Like, he doubled down.
That's a fucking horrible joke.
Like, terrible. I shouldn't be laughing.
No, it's so comically horrible, like supervillain horrible. Especially, like, regardless of whether you are recovering from a mastectomy or not, that's a fucking awful joke.
Anybody.
Breast reduction surgery is the cruelest surgery a woman could do because of what it denies a man.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no words.
You have no words.
I had no words at the time. I had no words in the courtroom. I have no words now. It's just.
But you have a good sense of humor.
I do.
So
that's why
at the time, did you find it curious that he would make that joke with you sitting?
I was actually not in the room. I was, I think, getting coffee. But I also know him well enough to know that he would have told the joke if I was in the room.
Right. He'd do it again.
He would do it again. I just wasn't in front of a mic to show my outrage, which I would have.
Right.
But I mean, it's not like I knew how to handle him, but yeah, that was just the most outrageous thing that you could possibly say. So the reaction sometimes is, laughter is a form of showing surprise, right?
But when he makes a joke like that on Q107, does Q107/Chorus, do they receive emails and phone messages from people? Oh, my wife is has breast cancer, or my mom died from breast cancer. Like, it's just not funny. Like, I have a dark sense of humor. Honestly, I can go all day with Brad Jones. I have a dark sense of humor.
I have a dark sense of humor too, but I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody out there who finds that offensive. I do too, and I had breast cancer again this year.
Well, I was gonna ask you because I read your Substack.
Yeah, I'm fine, but no, he was something else. That's all I can say, and. Part of that I don't give a shit attitude was partially why he was so good at what he did.
He was fearless, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. Hey, guy's not working now, is he?
Well, do you think he'll ever work again?
No.
Do you think there's a podcast in his future?
Well, there's nothing to stop him, I guess, right? So I don't think he'll ever be hired by anybody, but would people listen to his podcast? Yes, sadly, and I hope I'm not telling tales out of school here, but Jennifer told me recently that some guy accosted her on the street and said, "You wrecked a good man's life," and started yelling at her. And she was, See,
Victim
Jennifer's one of the
blaming.
nicest people in the world, and she's a real people pleaser. Even with this dickhead, she was trying to tell him that he just didn't understand. And he ended up haranguing her until she got into her car and drove off. But sadly, there's still a sort of Derringer army out there.
Yeah. Well, there's Trumpers out there.
Yeah, I know. The world is full of awful people.
I have stopped. I used to overestimate people, and now I just try to underestimate
Same.
everybody. And I can't remember who was over here recently where I said, I think historically I gave people too much credit. Like, oh, they're too smart to whatever. They'll figure this out. I don't think people are nearly as smart as I thought they were.
I don't either, but I still try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But in this case, a lot of people have shown Jennifer and me, but this is Jennifer's fight, and I'm only there to support her.
Right.
They have shown her tremendous support, but there is a shocking amount of people out there who are filled with hate and think that she's just another unhappy bitch who's trying to ruin some guy's life.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to turn the channels on our way out here. Again, August, we can read more on CBC, but apparently I was told somebody said you can get the Zoom link and actually hear this
Anybody
live.
can. So what you do, and I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
You know, it's your civic duty apart from
Right.
great tea.
It's like jury duty, right?
So you go to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal website. Just look it up.
Google it.
And they'll have a list of all the forthcoming trials. And this one is Valentine versus Chorus.
Right.
And you'll see the dates in August and again in October. I think they do the full calendar year. And you click on that, and it'll take you to the registrar. And you will ask. You don't even have to have. If my best friend who lives in London, England, watched the whole thing.
Right.
And
You don't have to have an IP address.
She's a
from
university
Canada.
professor who teaches design. She has like no reason, professional or otherwise. But you just request and say, I would like an access code link to this, and they will give it to you.
Right. Okay. So everybody.
You're also welcome to go and watch it in person. It's a public event.
Right. Right.
Shocking, eh?
Are you going to attend anymore? Like in support of Jennifer?
I was there so I was going to be there the first day with Derringer, and I was actually on my way to the courtroom, and I was at the doctor's, and I got in the car, and I turned on the link to see where they were at because I didn't want to walk in the middle, and Derringer was talking to me, and I sat in the car. He was talking about me.
About you.
And I sat in the car, and I was so traumatized by what he was saying, I couldn't go in.
Right.
And that night, that was the first day that he was on. And that night, my husband came home, and I said, I couldn't go in. And he said, Mo, you have to go in for Jennifer tomorrow. You have to. You've been in her corner all this way. She needs you there. And I was like, absolutely, you're right. So the next day I went in, I thought, I'll go in early. Because I don't know why. I'll go in early because I don't want to run into him or whatever. Of course, I walk in, and he and his wife are sitting right outside the courtroom. Nobody else is around.
And you just smile and
I go,
say hello.
hi, you two.
Awkward.
I think what will happen in August, if Jennifer really wants me to be in there, but I think she's okay. She's got a support team. She's got some wonderful friends who've showed up every day of the trial.
Right.
Which, is a credit to her. I will definitely watch on Zoom. I hope to be up at the cottage in August. What I do want to be there for are the closing remarks in October. I want to hear Lisa sum it up. Lisa Stamm is the lawyer. I also want to hear what Chorus's defense has to say for itself.
Okay, so stay tuned on that front. Really quick hits here. I want to thank recyclemyelectronics.ca for supporting this show. And Maureen, if you have old cables, old electronics, old devices, you don't throw that in the garbage because those chemicals end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code, and find out where you can drop it all off to be properly recycled. And if you're not at the cottage this summer and you're looking for some fun to do, typically on a Sunday afternoon, but other times as well, the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball at Christie Pitts is amazing. What value, what fun. No ticket required, Maureen. What can you say? That's not something you can say very often. But no. grab a beer, grab a hot dog, and fill the hill and enjoy some quality baseball at Christie Pitts. It's amazing. So Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. I know you're going to want some reading this summer at the cottage.
I can see you
Leafs diving into the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, and you'll learn all about the Butler brothers from East York and more. that's yours to take home with you, Maureen. You get swag on this show.
Thank you.
You didn't know all that swag you were going to get. Okay. And last but not least, I suppose I said that already. I want to thank Nick Iones, whose podcast is called Building Toronto Skyline. And we have a new recording next Friday. And he stepped up to help fuel the real talk on Toronto Mic'd. And I appreciate it. Keep this going. Nick, I hope to see you Thursday at TMLX 22. I hope everybody comes out. Okay, so we talked about Maryland's last week. End of an era. The old guard is gone. Who is the current longest serving Toronto morning show? I'm talking morning show here. Host. I have a thought, but what are your thoughts?
I think Roz and Mocha are now sort of the legacy, I guess, show. I mean,
that's
John Moore, but that's talk. Although John,
but it counts. And I would say I did, because I dug into it thinking, who came first, Roz and Mocha or your dear friend John Moore?
I think John was doing afternoons.
Right.
Roz
I
and
think
Mocha
on the
started.
morning show, I think Roz and Mocha get in mere weeks before John Moore. I think they're really close, but I think Roz and Mocha get in first. You know, they're now the stars of Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
I know. I love that. I love that movie.
So do I. I loved it so much. I did a whole episode about it.
It's so good.
It is so good. And there's Roz and Mocha all over that show. And John Moore is your dear friend.
Yes.
I know this because he was on his way here for an episode. And he said, apparently you said kind words about this program and he was excited to come over. And then he told me his program director told him he's not allowed to come
Bullshit.
over.
Ask him again. That's just so much bullshit. Come on.
Well,
Get over yourselves, Belle. I think he'd like to be on the show. I
would like to have him on.
Well, ask him again. I mean, I don't think that PD is there anymore. And if they actually
No,
have
he's at 640.
Okay. We're talking Mike Ben Dixon.
Correct.
If anybody's got a problem with him, I mean, John is a very good rule follower, I must say. Despite,
He's not a rebel.
He's
without
not.
a cause.
He's not a rebel. He's not a wild card. But ask him again. I think he'd love to be on the show.
Okay, I did get a phoner, if you will. I think it was a Zoom, but we did a remote where he talked about somebody who had passed away, who was a regular contributor to CFRB 1010 over there. But I am going to ask him again and see if John Moore can finally make his Toronto Mike debut, because every time we chat, John and I, we talk like we're old buds.
Yeah.
I like the guy.
He said you're impossibly good looking. This was just on Friday.
I
and
said the same thing to him.
I said, no, he's possibly good looking, John. Seriously.
John said that about me,
He did.
Well, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, honestly. I am due for a haircut, Maureen Holloway, and it's happening Thursday. My barber moved to New Brunswick, and
Well,
then
that's a long way to go.
he's and not just my hair. He's not flying back for just me, okay, Maureen? But he is flying back to cut people's hair because he hasn't been here in a few months,
That's
and I'm going to get
adorable.
it done before TMLX 22. So everybody who comes out can see my new do. Maureen, are you going to be there at TMLX 22?
No.
Hey, ref on the live stream, it's like, get Mo. And I was thinking, I'm not going to waste my energy and time
But thanks for asking.
trying to get Mo to show up at TMLX 22. But honestly, what a pleasure it is. I'm glad you said you're fine health-wise.
I am. I'm absolutely fine.
You look good, you sound good, and we'll have to do this again at some point.
Who knows what the future holds?
And get me Marilyn Dennis on Toronto Mike. I'll work on John Moore. Get me Marilyn Dennis. Her people told me she was too busy, but I feel like she'll have some free time coming up.
She might.
Okay, I'll work on it. And that brings us to the end of our 1,922nd show. Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. And get your ass to Great Lakes Brewery on Thursday. We're there 6 to 9. Palma Pasta will feed everybody. Did I tell you Palma sent a lasagna for you, Mo?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can't remember.
I'm excited.
Okay, it should be. It's delicious. But they're going to feed us all on Thursday night. So come hungry. And your first beer, your first pour of fresh craft beer from Great Lakes is on the house. So that's a beer and pasta. That's pretty damn good. So get your ass to TMLX 22 on Thursday. Much love to Great Lakes Brewery, who have been on board of this podcast for over 10 years. Is that amazing? 10 years. And Palma Pasta, who have been on board almost that long. And Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball, Nick Iones, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, and of course, Ridley Funeral Home, who have given Maureen Holloway
A tape measure.
a tape measure.
It's just weird.
See you all Wednesday. Here, Mo, I'm a professional. I'm going to find out who. Oh, Rocco Rossi makes his Toronto Mike debut. He ran for mayor the year that Rob Ford won, 2010. But Rocco Rossi is going to drop by. We'll talk to him on Wednesday. See you all then.